The cavern shook as the mercenaries advanced, their armor glowing with sharp lines of red energy. The hum of their weapons filled the air, clashing against the quiet pulse of the relic. Kyle's heart pounded. His knife felt small compared to their guns, but he tightened his grip anyway. He had come too far to turn back now. The warrior sisters stepped forward, blades gleaming in the dim light. The eldest spoke without fear. "We are the shield of this world. You will not pass." The mercenary leader laughed, his helmet reflecting the glow of the relic. "Your age is over. Guardians cannot stop progress. Power belongs to those strong enough to seize it." At his signal, the mercenaries charged. The sisters met them head-on. The eldest swung her blade in wide arcs, each strike sparking against armored suits. The second sister moved faster than Kale could follow, slipping past enemy guards and striking weak points with perfect precision. The youngest fought with fire in her eyes, her strikes wild yet fierce, pushing back 2 attackers. At once, Kale dove behind a stone pillar as a blast scorched the ground where he had stood. Dust rained down and the heat seared his skin. His chest tightened with panic, but he forced himself to breathe. He could not freeze now. He spotted a mercenary raising a weapon toward the youngest sister's back. Without thinking, Kyle leapt forward, tackling the man's arm. The weapon fired into the ceiling, showering them both with shards of glowing crystal. The mercenary shoved him aside easily. Too strong, too fast. But Kyle grabbed a fallen rock and slammed it against the soldier's helmet. The visor cracked and the mercenary stumbled. The youngest sister finished him with a swift strike. "Stay close," she shouted. Kale nodded, coughing on dust, his hands trembling. But inside, a spark of pride burned. He was no longer just an observer. He was part of this fight. The battle spread across the cavern. Energy blasts lit the air in flashes of blue and red. The relic pulsed brighter with every strike, as if reacting to the chaos. The sound of metal on stone, of blades against armor, echoed like thunder. The eldest sister fought the mercenary leader directly. Their clash was fierce, each strike shaking the cavern. He wielded a blade powered by energy, its hum sharp and deadly. She blocked with raw strength, her eyes glowing brighter with every movement. Kale knew she was strong, but the leader's power was overwhelming. Sparks flew as their blades met, and the ground split beneath their feet. Meanwhile, Kale and the other sisters worked together against the remaining mercenaries. The second sister guided him, pointing out weak points in armor. Kyle learned quickly. He distracted enemies with sudden strikes, giving her openings to bring them down. The youngest darted in and out, striking fast before slipping away. But still, the mercenaries kept coming. For each one that fell, another pressed forward. Kale's arms grew heavy, his lungs burned, but he refused to stop. Every breath, every movement was a promise. He would not let this world fall. Then, a loud crack shook the cavern. Kale turned just in time to see the eldest sister knocked back against the relic's base. The mercenary leader raised his glowing blade high, ready to strike her down. "No!" Kyle shouted. He sprinted forward, hurling himself between them. The blade came down, sparks raining as Kale blocked with his knife. The force nearly crushed him. His knees buckled, his arms shook violently, but he held on. The leader sneered. "Foolish human. You think you can stand against me?" Kale's teeth clenched. Not alone. At that moment, the relic pulsed brighter than ever. The crystals in the walls glowed, flooding the cavern with light. Kale felt heat surge through his body, as if the relic itself had heard him. His knife, simple and dull moments ago, shimmered with blue fire. The leader's eyes widened. "What?" The eldest sister rose behind Kale, her strength renewed by the relic's light. "Together," she said firmly. With one strike, Kale and the eldest sister swung in unison. His burning knife cut through the leader's blade, shattering it into sparks. Her strike followed instantly, slashing across his armor. The leader staggered back, his weapon broken, his armor cracked. The second and youngest sisters pressed forward, driving the remaining mercenaries into retreat. Panic spread through their ranks as the relic's glow grew blinding. The cavern itself seemed to reject them, the ground shaking beneath their boots. "Fall back!" one shouted. The mercenaries scrambled, dragging their wounded with them. The leader cursed, his helmet cracked, his pride wounded deeper than his body. "This isn't over," he snarled before vanishing into the shadows with the rest of his men. At last, silence returned. Only the relic's steady pulse remained, softer now, calmer. The cavern no longer shook. Kale collapsed to his knees, gasping for breath. His knife, still glowing faintly, dimmed until it was once again plain steel. His hands trembled, not only from exhaustion, but from awe. The eldest sister placed a hand on his shoulder. "You stood when it mattered. The relic chose to answer you. That has never happened for an outsider before." Kale swallowed hard, unsure what to say. He had never believed in destiny, but in that moment, he felt something greater than himself. The youngest smiled faintly. "You are one of us now." The second sister nodded. Not a burden, not an intruder, a warrior. Kyle looked around the cavern, at the glowing relic, at the sisters who had once tested him with fire and fear. He realized that this world, so strange and wild, had accepted him. He was no longer just fighting for survival. He was fighting for Zarathia itself. When they left the cavern, the night sky stretched wide above the mountains. Stars burned bright, endless and cold. Kale gazed at them, thinking of his home colony, of the people who still struggled there. The eldest spoke quietly beside him. "You still wish to save your people. That is good. But now you understand. To take without care is to destroy. To protect is to build." Kale nodded. "I'll find a way to help my people without hurting this world." The sisters stood beside him, silent but strong. He knew they would not leave him to face this challenge alone. As the wind swept across the cliffs, Kale felt a strange peace. He had come to Zarathia as a desperate survivor. He now stood as a protector, a warrior bound to a new family and a greater cause. The path ahead would not be easy. The mercenaries would return, stronger and angrier. His colony still needed him, but for the first time, Kale felt ready. The warrior sisters had cornered him once, declaring he would sleep between them. He had thought it only a trial, a strange custom, but now he understood. It had been a promise that they would stand together, fight together, live together, and in the heart of Zarathia under the endless stars, Kale knew that promise would endure. Ryan never thought his first day at the Interstellar Academy would feel like this. The hall was enormous, its walls built from smooth silver stone that pulsed with faint blue light. Rows of floating desks circled the room, each holding a student from a different world. Some students had scales that glittered, some had wings folded tight, and others had skin that glowed like molten glass. And then there was Ryan, the only human. He sat stiffly at his desk, trying not to stare at the alien students. His hands twisted together in his lap. He wanted to look confident, but inside he felt like a child dropped in the middle of a storm. At the front of the hall stood Instructor Valara, tall and sharp like a figure carved from crystal. Her body shimmered in colors that shifted with the light, and her voice rang clear like chimes when she spoke. "Students," Valara said, "today we test not only your knowledge but your ability to think. The galaxy rewards those who adapt. Those who cannot adapt, he will be left behind." Her glowing eyes swept across the room and paused on Ryan. The heat of her gaze made his throat dry. Ryan had been warned. Humans were new to the Union. Most species saw them as strange and untested. Some thought humans were too fragile, too reckless, too emotional to survive among ancient powers. Ryan was here to prove otherwise. But how? Valara raised one shimmering hand, and in the air above her desk appeared a cluster of glowing rings. They spun slowly, then shattered into dozens of fragments that floated like shards of glass. "This puzzle," Valara said, "was left by the builders. For centuries, many have tried to solve it. None in this class have succeeded." The fragments pulsed faintly, each flashing in a different rhythm. The sight made Ryan's head spin. "Today," Valara continued, "I will call on one student at random. You will attempt the puzzle before us all." Murmurs rippled through the class. Some students straightened eagerly. Others sank low, hoping not to be chosen. Valara's eyes swept the room again and stopped on Ryan. "You," she said. "The human." Ryan's heart jumped into his throat. "Stand." He rose shakily to his feet. The other students turned to watch, their faces filled with amusement, doubt, or quiet curiosity. Ryan caught the sneer of a reptilian student whose scales gleamed green. "This will be interesting," the reptilian muttered. Ryan walked slowly to the front, his legs trembling. He had dreamed of showing humans could be clever, strong, and brave. But not like this. Not with everyone staring. He stopped before the puzzle. The glowing shards hovered inches from his face, spinning gently in the air. Valara's voice rang clear. "Show us what the human mind can do." Ryan reached out a hand. The moment his fingers brushed one of the shards, it zipped away and slammed back into the wrong ring. The puzzle reset itself with a sharp hum. Laughter spread through the hall. "This here?" Reptilian smirked. "Clumsy." Ryan's ears burned. He clenched his teeth and forced himself to focus. He noticed something strange. The shards weren't random. They pulsed in a rhythm. One blink, then two, then three. Like a heartbeat, but in numbers. He leaned closer, his brow furrowed. "It's a pattern," he whispered. Valara tilted her head. "Explain." "The flashes," Ryan said louder. "They're counting. If I follow the rhythm, maybe they'll lock together." The class fell silent. Ryan reached for the shard that blinked once. It slid smoothly into place. Then he touched the shard that blinked twice. It joined the first. His breath caught. Carefully, he followed the sequence. One by one, the shards returned, forming glowing rings. The classroom held its breath. Finally, the last shard clicked into place. The rings spun together, then fused into a bright sphere of light. Gasps echoed across the hall. Valara's crystal face glowed brighter. "Impressive. You saw what others could not." Ryan's chest swelled with relief. He had done it. He had actually solved it. But before he could step back, the sphere shifted again. It stretched, unfolded, and projected a hologram into the air. A star map. At its center burned a red planet, pulsing like a heartbeat. Valara's eyes narrowed. "So that is where it leads." Ryan frowned. "Wait. That wasn't just a classroom puzzle?" Valara's voice was low. "No, that was a key." The students whispered in alarm. Valara stepped closer to Ryan. "And it was unlocked by you." After class, Ryan sat alone in the library, staring at his hands. His mind raced. Why had the puzzle responded to him? He wasn't smarter than the others. He wasn't even trained. The red planet's image haunted him. What was there? Why had the puzzle revealed it? Human. Ryan flinched as Valara's voice sounded behind him. She moved like flowing glass, quiet and steady. "I did not expect you to succeed," she admitted. "None did. Yet you did not hesitate. You trusted what you felt." Ryan laughed nervously. "I thought I was guessing." "Perhaps. But sometimes, instinct is greater than calculation." Valara placed something on the table. It was a crystal shard, glowing faintly, the same one from the puzzle. "This was hidden inside," she said, "and it responds to you." The shard pulsed as soon. As Ryan touched it, glowing brighter, he stared, shocked. "Why me?" Valara's gaze was steady. "That is what we must learn." Before Ryan could ask more, the academy alarm suddenly blared. Red lights flashed. Voices shouted in alien tongues. Valara's body flared with sharp light. "Intruders. Someone knows the key has been found." She looked at Ryan, her voice urgent. "Stay close. The lesson has only begun." Ryan stared at the glowing shapes that floated above the silver desk. The alien puzzle looked simple at first. 3 rings made of light, slowly spinning in the air. But as he reached toward them, the rings shifted, breaking apart into dozens of glowing fragments. The class murmured. Students from different worlds whispered in their own strange languages. Some had claws, others had long antennae, and a few had glowing eyes that blinked like tiny lamps. They all looked at Ryan with doubt. Human, one of the taller reptilian students hissed. You will fail. We already tried this. None of us could finish it. Instructor Valara, her tall form shining under the academy's soft blue lights, raised a hand for silence. Her skin shimmered like crystal, reflecting the light from the puzzle. Every student here has failed this exercise, she said calmly. But humans claim to think differently. Let us see if that is true. Ryan swallowed hard. His palms felt sweaty. He wasn't supposed to be here. He was the only human in the class admitted as part of a cultural exchange between Earth and the Interstellar Union. Everyone else was from powerful and ancient species. Compared to them, Ryan was just a kid with a backpack and too many questions. But now all eyes were on him. He took a deep breath. All right, he muttered to himself. Think, Ryan. Don't panic. The glowing fragments floated like shards of broken glass. Each one pulsed with a soft rhythm, almost like a heartbeat. He noticed something. The fragments weren't random. They flashed in patterns. He reached out carefully. The moment his finger brushed one of the glowing shards, it zipped away and slammed back into the wrong ring. The puzzle reset itself with a faint hum. Laughter rippled through the classroom. Clumsy human. The reptilian hissed again. Ryan's cheeks burned, but he ignored them. He leaned closer, watching the way the shards pulsed. First one blinked once, then another blinked twice, then a third blinked 3 times. A sequence. A rhythm. He frowned. It's like music. Valara tilted her head, studying him with her crystal-like eyes. Explain, she said. The pieces, Ryan said slowly. They're not just random lights. They're giving a beat. If I put them back in the right order, they'll form the rings again. The reptilian scoffed. Nonsense. But Valara's gaze stayed fixed on Ryan. Show us. Ryan nodded. His hands shook a little, but he steadied himself. He touched the shard that blinked once. It hummed softly and stayed where it was. Then he touched the one that blinked twice, and it slid smoothly into place. One by one, he followed the rhythm. The class grew silent. At last, the 3 rings reformed, spinning slowly together. Then they interlocked into one glowing sphere of light. The puzzle was solved. Gasps filled the room. Valara stepped closer. Her crystal form shimmered brighter, almost like approval. Impressive. You saw what the others could not. You used intuition. Ryan exhaled in relief. He had done it. But before he could celebrate, the sphere of light changed again. It stretched, unfolded, and projected a hologram into the air. A strange alien map hovered above the desk. It showed a star system, with a single planet glowing. Bright red. Valara's eyes narrowed. So that is where it leads. Ryan blinked. Wait. This wasn't just a classroom puzzle? Valara turned to the class. No. This was not a game. It is an ancient lock. None of you could open it. But the human has done so. This means something. The students murmured again, some in awe, some in frustration. What does the map show? Asked a student with wings folded against her back. Valara raised a hand and the hologram zoomed in. The red planet pulsed like a heartbeat. It is a restricted world, she said, one forgotten by most. But now it has revealed itself again. Ryan's stomach twisted. He hadn't meant to uncover something dangerous. So, what happens now? Valara turned to him. Now, human, you must prepare. Because what you unlocked may have been waiting for your kind all along. The next day, Ryan couldn't stop thinking about the map. He sat in the Academy's wide glass library staring out at the stars. His tablet showed him lessons about alien physics, but he couldn't focus. Why had the puzzle reacted to him? Why not the others? He tapped his pen nervously. Maybe it was luck, or maybe humans really did think differently, just as Valara suggested. Back on Earth, he had always been told humans were adaptable, curious, stubborn. Maybe those qualities mattered more in space than anyone realized. His thoughts were interrupted when Valara's shadow fell across his table. "Human," she said, "walk with me." He followed her into the quiet halls of the Academy. The walls shimmered with faint energy fields humming softly like distant wind. They passed alien students who whispered and glanced at him. Some looked impressed, others jealous. At last, Valara stopped in a training room. The walls here were lined with strange weapons and glowing devices. She turned to him. "You must understand, Ryan. The puzzle you solved is from an ancient civilization. They left behind trials only certain minds could complete. Perhaps they foresaw that one day your species would join the stars." Ryan frowned. "But why me? I'm just a kid from Earth. I'm not special." Valara's crystal face glimmered. "Humans often underestimate themselves. That is why you surprise others. That is why you may succeed where stronger species fail." She handed him a small object. It was a crystal shard glowing faintly. "This was hidden inside the puzzle," Valara explained. "It is a key, and it responds to you." The shard pulsed as soon as it touched Ryan's hand, glowing brighter. He nearly dropped it in shock. "What does it open?" he asked. Valara's gaze was steady. "The red planet." Ryan's mouth went dry. "A whole planet?" Before he could ask more, the Academy alarm suddenly blared. A deep horn echoed through the halls. Students rushed past the door, shouting in alien languages. Valara's crystal body glowed sharp and fierce. "Intruders," she said. "Someone knows the key has been found." She looked at Ryan. "Stay close. This lesson is far from over." The alarm echoed through every hall of the Academy. A long, deep sound like a horn mixed with sharp metallic tones. Lights along the walls turned red, flashing in steady rhythm. Students rushed from classrooms, their voices filled with worry and confusion. Ryan gripped the glowing shard tighter. His heart pounded so fast it almost hurt. He had never been in real danger before, at least not danger involving alien raiders. Valara's crystal form flickered brighter, her voice calm but firm. "Listen to me, human. The intruders have come for the key. You must stay close to me. Do not let it out of your hand." Ryan nodded quickly. "Who are they?" Valara's eyes reflected the flashing lights. "Hunters. Mercenaries from forgotten worlds. They follow whispers of power. Somehow they learned the puzzle was solved. The ground shook beneath their feet. Distant explosions rattled the Academy walls. Ryan stumbled, but Valara steadied him with one shining hand. "Move. We must reach the command chamber." They pushed through crowded corridors. Alien students ran in all directions, some to safe rooms, others to defensive stations. The Academy was more than a school. It was also a fortress of knowledge, built to protect secrets like the one Ryan had just unlocked. As they turned a corner, a group of shadowy figures appeared ahead. Their armor was dark and sharp, glowing faintly with crimson light. Their helmets hid their faces, but their movements were fast and precise. Valara raised her hand. Her crystal body shone with sudden brilliance, and a barrier of light stretched across the hall. Energy bolts from the intruders struck the barrier, sending ripples of color through the air. "Run!" Valara ordered. Ryan hesitated. "What about you?" "I will hold them. The command chamber is 3 halls ahead. Go." Ryan wanted to argue, but fear pushed him forward. He ran, clutching the shard to his chest. His shoes pounded against the smooth floor, and the red lights above flashed faster now, almost urging him to move. Behind him, Valara's voice echoed with strange, melodic tones as she unleashed waves of crystal energy. The clash of battle roared through the corridor. Ryan turned another corner and nearly crashed into 2 alien students, one with insect-like arms, the other with feathered wings. Human. The winged one shouted. Where is Instructor Valara? She's fighting them, Ryan gasped. She told me to reach the command chamber. The insect-like student clicked his mandibles nervously. Then we will guide you. The intruders are everywhere. Together they sprinted through the halls. Twice they ducked into side passages as groups of armored figures stormed past. The academy shook again, this time with a heavier blast that made dust fall from the ceiling. Finally, they reached a towering door made of layered silver plates. 2 guards stood outside, their armor glowing with blue energy. They opened the door quickly and waved them inside. The command chamber was wide and circular, filled with tall screens showing maps of the academy. In the center hovered a large hologram of the red planet, the same one revealed by the puzzle. An elder alien with deep lines across his stone-like face turned as they entered. His voice rumbled like distant thunder. The human is here. Ryan froze, unsure whether that was good or bad. The elder stepped closer, his eyes glowing faintly. You solved the ancient lock. You carry the shard. Ryan slowly lifted the glowing key in his hand. I didn't mean to, it just reacted to me. The elder nodded gravely. It was meant to. That world has been hidden for ages. Only a certain mind could reveal it. And now the hunters know. On the screens, red dots spread through the academy map. Intruder positions. They were moving, fast, overwhelming defenses. The elder's voice hardened. If they reach you, they will take the shard. That cannot be allowed. Do you understand? Ryan's throat felt dry. What do you want me to do? Before the elder could answer, the chamber doors shook violently. The metal groaned as blasts hammered against it. The guards braced themselves. The elder turned to the others. Protect the human. If the shard is lost, the hunters will awaken. What should remain buried? The doors burst open. Armored figures poured in. Energy bolts filled the air. The guards fought back, but the hunters were relentless. Ryan ducked behind a console. His hands shook as he clutched the shard tighter. He wanted to run, to hide, but something inside told him that wouldn't help. Then the shard pulsed. It grew brighter, humming softly in his hands. The glow spread, wrapping his fingers in warm light. Ryan blinked. What are you trying to tell me? He whispered. The shard pulsed again, stronger, as if answering him. Almost without thinking, Ryan raised it high. A burst of light exploded, from the shard filling the chamber. The hunters froze, their armor flickering and sparking. For a moment they seemed trapped in the glow. Everyone stared in shock. Even the elder's eyes widened. Ryan lowered the shard, breathing hard. The light faded, and the hunters stumbled back, retreating toward the doors. Silence filled the chamber. The elder stepped forward slowly. So it is true. The key chooses its bearer, and it has chosen a human. Ryan's chest rose and fell quickly. His hands still shook. I didn't even know what I was doing. Yet you did it, the elder said. You turned its power against them. This is only the beginning. Later, after the academy sealed the intruders out, Ryan sat in a quiet room with Valara and the elder. Valara's crystal form dimmed with exhaustion from the battle, but her voice was steady. You showed courage, human. You faced fear and did not let it control you. Ryan rubbed his face. I almost dropped the shard. I almost ran away. Yet you did not, Valara said firmly. The elder studied him closely. The red planet is not simply forbidden. It is dangerous. Long ago, an ancient power was hidden there, sealed away by those who feared it. If the hunters seek it, then the galaxy may face great peril. Ryan looked down at the shard glowing faintly in his hand. And I'm supposed to stop that? Valara's voice softened. Not alone, but you may be the one who can unlock what others cannot. That is why you were brought here, though none of us realized it until now. Ryan felt a chill. Back on Earth, he had been ordinary. Average grades, average life. Now aliens were telling him he was chosen by some ancient puzzle. It sounded impossible, but the shard pulsed again in his palm, almost like a heartbeat, reminding him this was real. He looked up at Valara and the Elder. Fear still filled him, but so did a strange spark of determination. "All right," he said, quietly. "If this thing chose me, then I'll try, but I'll need help." Valara's crystal face gleamed faintly, almost like a smile. "Then your true lessons begin." The academy was quieter after the attack, but it was not the same. Broken walls, scorched corridors, and burned-out consoles were reminders of what had happened. Guards now stood at every entrance. The students walked in tense silence, their eyes filled with worry. Ryan walked beside Valara through one of the long crystal halls. The shard pulsed faintly in his pocket, as if it were alive. He wished it would stop reminding him of what had happened, but every beat made him remember he had been chosen. Valara's voice broke the silence. "Your training must begin now. The Red Planet is not a place for the unprepared. You must learn to use the shard, and yourself." Ryan frowned. "But I don't even understand what I did back there. The light just came out of it. I didn't plan anything." "Exactly," Valara said. "Humans act with instinct. That is your strength. But instinct alone is not enough. You must shape it with knowledge." They entered a vast chamber. The walls were lined with alien devices, floating orbs, shining crystals, metallic suits with glowing lines. At the center was a training platform that shifted and changed its shape like living stone. Rian's eyes widened. "This looks like a science museum mixed with a gym." Valara ignored his joke. She touched the wall, and the platform reshaped itself into a wide circle with strange symbols glowing across it. "Step inside." Ryan hesitated. "What's going to happen?" "You will learn," Valara replied simply. The moment Rian stepped onto the platform, light surrounded him. The floor shimmered, and suddenly he was standing in a different place, an endless desert of red sand under two suns. He spun around in shock. What is this?" "A simulation," Valara's voice echoed around him. Though he could not see her, her voice was calm and steady. "This is how you will train. Here. The shard will respond to your choices." Ryan looked down at his hand. The shard had appeared there, glowing softly. He felt its warmth. "Now," Valara said, "focus. The shard is connected to your thoughts. Imagine light. Imagine strength. Let it flow through you." Ryan frowned. He wasn't sure how to do that. He raised the shard awkwardly. Shine?" The shard flickered, a weak spark escaping it. "Nothing more." Valara's voice was calm. "Do not force it. Do not doubt it. Trust what you feel." Ryan took a deep breath. He closed his eyes and thought of the moment in the command chamber. He had been scared, desperate, but also determined not to let the hunters win. He remembered the heat in his chest, the need to protect. The shard pulsed stronger in his hand. A beam of light shot forward, striking the sand and carving a glowing mark. Rian gasped and almost dropped it. "I did it!" Valara's voice was steady. Again, for hours, he trained in the simulation. He learned to call the light in short bursts, to form a shield of energy, to release waves that pushed back imagined attackers. Each success filled him with excitement, but each failure reminded him how fragile his control was. Sometimes the shard flickered out, leaving him exposed. Sometimes the light burst too strong, knocking him backward. At last the desert faded, the training platform reappeared, and Valara stood waiting. "You learn quickly," she said. Rian rubbed his sore arms. "I also mess up a lot." "Failure is a step to mastery," Valara said. "What matters is that you continue." Ryan looked at the shard glowing faintly in his palm. "Do you think this thing chose me because I'm human, or because I was just there at the right time?" Valara studied him with her crystal eyes. "Perhaps both. Ancient builders did not see time as you do. They may have known your kind would come one day. Ryan shook his head. That sounds crazy. Many truths do, Valara replied. Days turned into weeks. Rian trained every morning in the simulation chambers, and every evening he studied with Valara. She taught him about the Red Planet. What little was known. It had once been home to an ancient race long gone. Rumors said they had built weapons that could shatter worlds. The Interstellar Union had forbidden travel there, fearing what might be found. But now, Valara said one evening, others seek it. Hunters, warlords, empires. The secret has been stirred, and you hold the only key. Ryan looked down at the shard glowing softly on the table between them. I'm just one person. What if I fail? Valara leaned closer, her crystal form shining faintly in the low light. Then we all fail. But I do not believe you will. Ryan felt a strange warmth at her words. One night, the academy skies burned with falling streaks of fire. Ryan stood at the window of his small room, watching. Ships were landing, Union ships. Reinforcements had come after the attack. The Elder called an assembly in the Grand Hall. Thousands of students and instructors gathered, their voices hushed. The Red Planet's hologram hovered above them. The Elder's deep voice carried through the chamber. The hunters will not stop. They will gather more allies. If they reach the Red World first, they may awaken what should remain buried. We cannot allow this. A mission will be launched. The Shard-Bearer will lead the way. Every eye turned toward Rian. His stomach twisted. He wanted to sink into the floor, but Valara's steady hand on his shoulder kept him standing. The Elder continued, a team will go with him. The strongest students from each race chosen for skill and loyalty. Together they will find the truth of the Red World before our enemies do. The hall filled with murmurs. Some students looked doubtful, others excited. Rian's mind raced. A mission to the planet he had unlocked, to whatever was hidden there, and he was supposed to lead them. After the assembly, Valara found him standing alone in the empty hall. His hands trembled. I can't do this, he whispered. Valara's crystal face gleamed faintly. You already are. He looked at her. What if I make the wrong choice? Her voice was calm. Then learn from it. That is what makes humans strong. You fall, but you rise again. That is why the shard responds to you. Ryan stared at the glowing shard in his hand. Slowly, he nodded. All right, he said. If we're going, I'll do my best, but I want a team I can trust. Valara tilted her head. Then tomorrow, you will choose. The next morning, Ryan stood on the academy training grounds. Students from many races gathered, waiting to see who would be selected. Rian took a deep breath. He looked at their faces, some curious, some doubtful, some eager. This isn't just my mission, he said, his voice louder than he expected. It's ours. We'll need strength, speed, brains, and courage. I don't care what species you are. I care if I can trust you when things get bad. Silence followed. Then, one by one, students stepped forward. The insect-like student with sharp claws, the winged student with keen eyes, a reptilian with strong arms, and others, each different, each willing. Valara watched quietly as Ryan looked at them and felt something stir inside him. For the first time, he didn't feel small or out of place. He felt like part of something bigger. The shard pulsed in his hand as if agreeing. The mission was set. Soon they would leave the academy and head for the forbidden Red Planet. Rian knew fear still waited ahead, but for the first time he also felt ready.